Welcome to this section on entering and editing worksheet data in Microsoft Excel. I'm using Excel version 2013 or 365, running Microsoft Windows version 10. There are three primary data types that we put in an Excel cell. I'll move my cursor here to cell A1, column A, row 1. We can enter numeric values, text values, or formulas. Let's talk about numeric values. To enter a numeric value, just type in the numbers. You can come back and format this in a variety of ways, but the most straightforward that gives you the most options right up front. From the Home tab, select the number format dialog box icon, click, release, left mouse button. That will open the format cells for number. Now you'll notice that we have alignment here and font, and you have all of those across here as well. So if you were to click that dialog box button for either of those, you'd get this same format cells dialog box. You just get a different tab that would open. There are different kinds of numbers and number formats. This is a basic number format. I use this one the most. I will set the number of decimals. In this case, I don't want any decimals. Use commas as a separator. It's good to use commas. Easier to read the numbers. You make fewer mistakes if you use commas to break the larger numbers up into groups that are more easily recognizable. And I normally use the minus sign to indicate negative numbers. I don't use colors because printers don't always print colors, and I don't use parentheses because they take up extra space in the cell. The cell formats itself to leave extra room for the parenthesis, and I just don't like that. There's the currency format, which essentially the same thing, except that it places a dollar sign in front. I use this sparingly. I don't like to clutter my workbook with dollar signs. So if I'm printing a financial statement or doing some work with numbers, many times I will indicate currency or the dollar sign with the first value and the last value. And the values in between, I'll just use the regular number formatting. There's accounting, there's percentages, fractions, a lot of different things you can do with numbers. And then we'll talk about date and time, which is another type of number format, in just a little bit. I'll go back to number, format this with no decimal places, comma separator, and say OK. Now once I have that done, if I were to enter another number down here, and if I wanted the same format, I could place my cursor here, select Format Painter from the Home menu, click and release. Then when I come down and click over this new number, it paints the format from this cell on to this cell. When it comes to dates, Microsoft Excel uses a serial number to store date and time. And that serial number is based on January 1st, 1900. If I enter today's date, 10/6/2015, Excel recognizes that as a date and stores it in this format. Now I can go to the number dialog box and format that date to show, you can see the example, Tuesday, October 6th, just the month and the day here in this sample, this shortened month and day. The way Excel does this is by storing the date as a serial number. I can view that number if I click on the Number tab or General and select OK. it will change the format to a general number format or general format. And I can see that today is 42,283 days from January 1, 1900. It does the same thing with time. If I were to enter the time format, I'll enter today's date at 1:15 p.m. Let's do that. Excel recognizes that as a date. You can see up here it's put it in there for me. If I go to the number format and select General, say OK, you can see that Excel stores the day portion as 42,283 and the hours, minutes, seconds, millisecond portion as a decimal, a portion of a day, a part of a day that indicates the specific time on a 24-hour clock. That's why occasionally you will try to enter something that you think is a number. For example, let's say I wanted to enter 1/2. So I type 1/2 and press enter, and Excel tries to help me out by entering 2 January. I say, well, I don't want 2 January, I want 0.5. So I go to number and I change it to the number format and say OK, and I get this number. Well, when I entered 1/2 or 1/2 without a year, it assumed that I meant this year, so it assigned that value to represent January the 2nd of this year, which is 42,006 days from January 1st of 1900. So it put that value in there. What I need to do if I wanted to enter 1/2 that way is format this as a number, which it already is. Now if I enter 1/2, I get 0.5. It's important to pay attention to that kind of formatting. Now let's work with some text. Text formatting is fairly straightforward. If you just type, it will enter the values in the cell. If the values exceed the size of the cell, you can move your cursor to the line between the two column letters, B and C in this case. It's the end of this cell where the text is. And then if I double click with my left mouse button, Excel will expand the size of the cell to match the length of the text. This can be a pretty useful process. Now, if I want to enter numbers as text, let's say I wanted to enter 1/2, 1/2. If I press the single quote character and then type the values I want, it will read them as text and enter them in just as they're typed. Or I could go in and format that cell, format this cell as text. Say OK. Then if I type 1/2, it takes it as text. To tie this all together, let's enter some data. I'm just going to get rid of these cells by selecting them, right-clicking, selecting delete, get rid of those. Let's enter a quarter's worth of information for 3 different departments. What I'm going to do is show you how to manage cursor movement while you're entering data like this. So I don't have anything in the first cell. I could put a title in here. I could title that month if I wanted to and press enter. Notice it moves me to the next cell when I press enter. I'll put January, press enter, February, just typing text. I just type it as I want to. And March, press enter. Notice it moves me to the top now of the next cell because I've told it, hey, I want to build this little table. I want to build it really quickly, and I don't want to be moving my cursor around and trying to get that. I want you to move the cursor for me. So I'll do it for Department 1. Their January figures were, and that was for February and March. Press enter. Now Department 2. And Department 3. All right, now I can format these numbers by selecting all of them. Going up to my number. There are a lot of different ways to do that, but I'm going to use this way. It covers all of the bases. I'm not going to put in any decimals. I'm going to use commas as a separator, and if there's a negative number, I just want to show a negative sign. Say OK. That's just a quick way to enter a table of values consisting of both text and numbers. We'll stop there for now. Thanks for watching.